Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Slovenia, and this is yet another beer that came in the second coming of the Davor box. So a huge thank you to Davor Šireč once again for making this review possible. He's been a long-term follower of the channel and he's been facilitating getting some Slovenian beers up to me, so it's really cool to be able to do this review for you. And a huge thank you to him once again for making this one possible. So for this review we are going to return to Maribor for the third time in this sort of Slovenian mini-series that we're doing, and we're doing my third review from the Lobik craft brewery. So for this one we're tasting their Fruitpocalypse now, which is an American style pale ale coming in at 6.2%. As you can see, yet again, some awesome artwork on this. But the other beers I've tried from these guys so far, I think it was the Hop Fiction was the last one, which was a really nice pale ale, and also the Able Archer 83. You know, that is a New England IPA, double IPA, that can stand up there with the likes of Brewski and Amar and Stigbergets and stuff like that we get up here in Scandinavia. So, you know, have a go at that one if you get the chance. Apparently they're remaking it at the moment. It's one of the best rated beers you're going to find from Slovenia, and this one is another beer that's very highly rated as well. I think this one had a 96 overall on Rate Beer, a 92 within the style. As I always say though, take Rate Beer with a bit of a pinch of salt, but usually it's a fairly good barometer, and I think it was well into the 4 stars when I had a little quick look on Untappd as well. But as I say, 6.2% American style pale ale, and I'm very, very curious to see how this one turns out. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from the Lobik craft brewery before. There will be another one for you at the moment, and you'll see that in a couple of weeks' time. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, please do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Slovenian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Lobik craft brewery then, on to my brewery notes. So as I mentioned earlier on, the Lobik craft brewery are based in Maribor in Slovenia, and they were founded officially back in 2016. So the brewery was founded by a group of friends who actually began homebrewing together in 2008. This was Gregor Mumel, Alan Zaritz, Grega Boltec and Ved Kolmanec Butsar. So the 4 friends actually met at rowing training, and they were very young. They were only about 16, so they were too young to buy beer. So they decided that to kind of get round this, they were going to brew their own. And initially they just wanted to brew a kind of basic lager beer, but then they learned through the wonders of the internet that there was a whole host of different beer styles out there, and they really just kind of got playing around. And from that moment on, they were hooked on the idea of actually, you know, just creating all these different beer styles. Apparently Alan and Gregor work on the recipes together, although Gregor apparently also works as a doctor in Austria. Vid and Grega apparently deal with the distribution side of the brewery. They were students in Ljubljana, and they made some very, very good connections there, and that's what's really helped this brewery to kind of grow in the early stage. But the original 4 are now joined at the brewery by Vid Zlebnik and also Aljaz Petric as well. So the name Lobik literally translates into English as fat fish, and the idea behind this was that the guys all met at rowing training. They put on quite a lot of weight in terms of muscle from the training, but they also put on a good little bit of weight from the beer as well apparently. So they liked this particular name that they had for the sort of double-barreled meaning, I guess, if you like. And one of the things, I guess, that's quite funny actually with the Slovenian beers, you've also got Human Fish and you've got Lobik as well, the fat fish brewery. So I really wonder what the thing is in Slovenia with all these fish names, if you like. It must be part of the humour there, or something like that. But these guys started off with a very small 60-litre brew kit. They were brewing in a rented basement in Maribor, but then they opened up their own brewery in April of 2016 in the Russia area, which has been doing very, very well actually. They're apparently using most of their income to kind of invest in the future, buying new tanks and new brewing equipment and stuff like this, and they're already starting to export their beers as well. Quite a lot of things are going to Italy. Of course, Italy is a big market, 40 or 50 million people in Italy, if I'm remembering correctly, and apparently they're also exporting over to Scotland and Ireland as well. So I've never seen these beers before in Scotland, so that was a bit of a surprise to hear about that, and I've not had anyone in Ireland telling me that they've been getting a hold of these either, so I'd be very curious to know if you're watching from Scotland or Ireland where you've come across these beers. So yeah, another very, very interesting Slovenian craft brewery, as I mentioned at the start of the video, and one that I think are doing a lot of very, very interesting things when it comes to the IPA styles. Apparently they do a couple of stouts and things like that as well, but Davor was telling me that that is quite a rare thing to come across. But hopefully I can try a few different styles from them in the future. All 4 of the beers that Davor sent me were IPAs, so I would like to try something from these guys on the darker end of the spectrum. But regardless, they're doing some awesome stuff there. Slovenia, very beautiful country apparently. I'm hoping to get out there in summer of 2020. They do some great wine, and you know, usually the countries that do good wine also do good craft beer, and I've been very impressed with the standard of IPAs and dark beers, incidentally, that I've had from Slovenia. But that's all you really need to know about the Lobik Craft Brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and that will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on there. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. We can get rid of the brewery notes for the moment. So it says on the side here, this is a pale ale you deserve, probably. Mostly not. You usually see labels telling you in this beer there really are biblical amounts of hops. They are always lying. When we stopped laughing, we did something about it. This is almost a New England style pale ale with some full but crisp body at the same time, but really low bitterness and sometimes murky, sometimes clear look. Aroma is explosive grapefruit, tropical fruit, stone fruit, and if I have to write fruit one more time. Lobik is shooting you with his M60 from a Huey with fruits that you've probably never heard before. Love the smell of the hops in the morning. It smells like a big problem with alcohol, so have some self-control. Thank you. Yeah. Quite like that actually, but there you can see the fat fish shooting all the fruits out of the Huey hog there. I do like the artwork on this. The artwork on these Lobik beers, I have to say, is pretty damn impressive. I really like that there. There you can see the Lobik brewery symbol, the fat fish there, which is quite cool. And you can see, yeah, the Lobik brewery of Maribor. So yeah, pretty cool. This one, as I mentioned, Maribor in the northeast of the country, the second city of Slovenia from what I gather. But yeah, it should be a very, very interesting beer this. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. So this one, 330ml can, and as I mentioned, a 6.2% American style pale ale. Quite heavy actually in terms of being a pale ale. I would probably argue that it's more along the lines of an IPA, but as soon as you open this beer up, you're getting some absolutely lovely fruity qualities out of it. So yeah, just look at that. You know, this is an absolutely beautiful looking beer. So yeah, with this one, it's poured a lovely, if I hold it up to the light, it's more of a yellowy colour, this one. Definitely more of a kind of bright yellow than a richer orange, if you like. But lovely big hazy beer. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see there's very little transparency to this one. This one is another one of these kind of hop soup beers, or yeah, definitely one of these kind of fruit juice, hop soup type things. There's a solid finger of a frothy, well, I'd say a 2/3 finger rather, of a frothy white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of the head there. But you know, overall, there's nothing particularly surprising about this one in terms of its appearance when you consider it's an IPA. You know, obviously it's more of a New England IPA rather than a West Coast IPA, but you know, it looks pretty damn nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma of this one then and just see how we get on. When you open this beer up, you get a lovely waft of like passion fruit, mangoes, pineapples and stuff like this. So let's take a closer look at that aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Oh yeah. That smells really nice. Yeah, lots of big fruity character coming out of this one. So yeah, I definitely think there's a bit of passion fruit in here. I wouldn't be surprised if they've used a bit of galaxy in this. Definitely passion fruits in there. A little bit of pineapple as well. Those are the two kind of telltale signs for the galaxy. I think citra too. There's some mangoes in there. Little touch of a, you know, it's definitely got a little bit of a citra, kind of gooseberry sort of thing going on in there as well, which is nice. And depending on what you mix it with citra, you can sometimes get a good little bit of grapefruit out of it. But it smells like a very, very juicy beer, this one. There is a little bit of a kind of, I don't know, is it watermelon or something like that? There's definitely something a little bit juicier to this beer as well. So it's really, you know, it's very, very nice how this whole thing kind of goes together actually. I really like the the aroma of this one. Lovely, big, juicy, fruity notes to this one. But that's exactly what you would expect from the New England sort of pale ales and IPAs and stuff like that, these big hazy beers. But a lovely, lovely aroma to this one. In terms of the malt base then, you can definitely smell a little bit of that pale malty quality to it. It's got a lovely kind of oaty creaminess and also a little bit of the kind of biscuity notes. The aroma of this beer, to be honest with you, again, it's not overly surprising, but the fruity, juicy qualities that it has do come across very, very nicely. You've got a lovely pale malty base to this one. Nice kind of oaty creaminess, like I said, and just a little touch of that biscuity sweetness. One of the things I've always missed about the West Coast IPAs is that caramelly, biscuity sort of thing that you can get from them. These styles, of course, are a lot more about the creamy kind of smoothness rather than that kind of sweet, hot, that sweet malty backbone, if you like. But lovely green elements to the hops as well. I would say this one leans a little bit more towards the kind of floral side of things. It does have a little touch of a floral, spicy quality to it. There's something in my head that's making me wonder a little bit about Enigma as well. There's a little bit of a almost red fruity kind of note to this one. Enigma can give you a bit of a red berryish note, but also a little bit of a kind of grapey flavour, grapey aroma, I feel like. I do wonder about that, because Enigma is becoming more and more of a popular hop. It's one that's popped up in Australia. I think it's quite maybe a little bit unlikely that that's in there. I really want to say it's more Galaxy and Citra that's in this one. I'm not picking up, you know, Mosaic's becoming a very, very popular hop as well, but I'm not really picking up too much of the sort of tangerine oranges that you would expect from that in this one. But a lovely sort of floral aromaticity to this beer, and also a little bit of a kind of lighter grassiness to it as well. But it smells very, very nice. As I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But let's have a go at this one then. So this one is the Fruitpocalypse now, my apologies, at 6.2% from the Lobik craft brewery in Maribor in the second city in Slovenia. Once again, a huge thank you to Davor for getting this beer up to me, and I hope you guys in Slovenia are enjoying this kind of mini series of reviews that I'm doing for you. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål, na zdravje. Oh yeah. Yeah, so once again, this is another beer that I think is pretty damn good, I have to say. I'm not surprised now. You know, we've had 3 beers. I've had 3 beers from the guys at Lobik, and they've all been really pretty damn nice. And the Able Archer, is this one on the same level as the Able Archer 83? You know, not quite, I don't think, but that's a special beer, that one. It really is quite a special beer, that. As a pale ale, you know, this one's obviously kind of toned down from the Able Archer 83 in that sense. This one is like the little brother of it or something. But you know, if you consider it as a pale ale, a beer that's meant to be lighter and more easy to drink, if you like, it really does the job, and it does it pretty damn well, I have to say. Yeah, I like what they've done with this. It really is nicely done. So take a few sips of this and just let your mouth adjust to it before you start analysing it too much. But this beer really is very nice. When it says it's kind of fruity and juicy, they're certainly not lying. It's got a lovely smoothness to it, this beer as well. But I think, as I've said with the other beers from Lobik, and I think generally when it comes to Slovenian IPAs, the thing I've always found is they love a little bit of an oily, fruity, juicy quality to their beers, but they also just love the malt base to have a little bit of sweetness to it, even with the New England styles. So for me, with this one, it really is just very, very well done. It's got a lovely bit of biscuity sweetness in the malt base, but it's also got that juicy, oily, fruity quality in the back end of it. So just be aware of that one when you're trying this. Even the New England IPAs seem to follow this trend, and it doesn't really matter which brewery you get them from, if it's Lobik, if it's Human Fish, if it's Pelletsson, Tectonic, any of these guys, Reservoir Dogs as well. You know, they all are doing some really really nice beers actually. I have to, you know, the IPAs, this sort of trend I'm talking about, a bit of sweetness in the malt base and a little bit of that oily juicy fruit seems to carry whichever Slovenian brewery it is you're looking at. It's always interesting that actually how palates seem to change a little bit from country to country, but the countries that do wine very well tend to do some very good craft beers, as I've mentioned a few times in these Slovenian reviews. But yeah, it's a lovely beer, this one. So let's focus on the malt base first. So middle of your palate then, you've got this nice, smooth, kind of white bready quality to it. And it is really quite smooth on this one. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of German malt in there, Weirmann malt or something like that. It does have a little bit of that distinctive German smoothness to it. In the middle of your palate, you can definitely feel a little touch of a kind of oaty creaminess to this one, and that builds a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste with this one. I remember the hop fiction, if you like, being a little bit more kind of grainy than this, but this is a very, very smooth malt base. I think they've done an awesome job with this actually. But in the middle of your palate, a little bit of that creaminess from the oats in there. In the very centre of your palate, you get a little bit of that biscuity sweetness. It tastes a little bit like McVitie's digestives and that sort of corny syrup stuff that they use in there, just to kind of push the biscuit together, if you like. It really has a little bit of that to it. The further you go into the aftertaste, it's maybe got a little touch of a slightly caramelly wafer quality to it as well. But the malt base, it doesn't do anything particularly surprising, but it's just really well crafted. I think that's a good way to kind of describe this beer. But yeah, the hoppy side of the beer is very nice and very smooth as well. I think in terms of IBUs, I think you're going to be lucky to get about 25 IBUs out of this one. It's a very, very smooth beer, this, but that again really suits it, and it helps accent the malt base a little bit. And I think, as I mentioned, that the Slovenians like their beers to be very well balanced but also punchy in certain areas. So on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, teeny little bit of earthiness, but as you come kind of further forward along the sides of the tongue, you've got a nice little bit of a floral aromaticity to this one. It becomes a little bit more grassy the further, when you go round the very front curve of the palate, but a nice little touch of floral quality there before the front corners of the tongue, and then round the very front curve of the palate you've got a nice slightly grassier quality to this beer. Then behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where that little oily bubble with all the juicy fruity esters come out. For me, this one has a kind of, I'm pretty sure there's a bit of Citra in here, and I do suspect that it's Galaxy that's in here. It could be Simcoe right enough, but I think just some of the complexities that come out of this beer are a little bit more along the lines of Galaxy. Simcoe's a very straight up passion fruit, but Galaxy, I think it's more, it does have that lovely lighter passion fruity note to it, but it's also got a little bit more of the kind of pineapple-y notes, and there is definitely a little bit of pineapple in here. I would say that about this beer. Yeah, it's just got a lovely juiciness to it, this one. So on that fruity part of the beer then, at the very, very, very back of that oily bubble, there is a little touch of that slightly darker grapefruity flavour there. In front of that you can pick up some of these passion fruity notes, and then in front of that again you get a little bit of the mango. But the passion fruit and the grapefruit are really lingering a bit more into the aftertaste. But that works out for the beer very, very nicely actually. When you go a little bit further into the flavour, you start to get the more pineapple-y notes out of this one. There's also a little bit of a kind of the sort of lychee, gooseberry-ish note to this beer. I think it's more of a lychee rather than anything else. Maybe even there's a little touch of lime. Could they have used a little bit of equinox or something like that in this beer? Because the lime flavours are actually starting to come out a little bit more strongly the further you go into the aftertaste, and the more you drink of this beer actually, the more kind of limey flavour that you get out of this one, which is really interesting. Of course, if you want lime in your beer, I think it might be the Waiti from New Zealand hop, which is very good for that. It's almost like a kind of mojito type hop actually. But you've also got the Equinox hop, or it used to be called Equinox, of course. You've got that hop as well, which gives you a lovely lime character. So I do wonder if there could be a little bit of that in here, just because of the way it has this nice limey note to it as well. But regardless, the way the fruits in this beer come out is really nice. The passion fruits and the mangoes and things are very, very kind of smooth in this beer, and I really like what they've done with this. This is another top quality beer from Lobik, and you know, at this point, after 3 beers, I'm not surprised at the level of things that they're putting out there. I would definitely love though to try a nice imperial stout or something a bit on the darker side of the spectrum. A hoppy red from these guys I think would be a very interesting project for them, or even a black IPA. I think that would be a really cool project for them to try. But yeah, they've done an awesome job of this, and if you like your New England IPAs to be very smooth and also just have a little touch of sweetness to them, but also have that typical juicy fruity quality, then I think you are going to enjoy this one. It's got a lovely juiciness. The juiciness is very well balanced with the malt base in this one, so a huge thumbs up once again to the Lobik Brewery for this. The Fruitpocalypse now, they've done a damn good job of this beer, and you know, for a beer that's meant to be a pale ale, it's got a hell of a lot of flavour in it, but it's 6.2%. You know, I think it's possible to argue that this is more of an IPA than a pale ale, let's just say that, but we can debate the styles all day. The pale ale, the IPA, double IPA and barley wine, of course, are related through their hop to malt ratio. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, then definitely a mid-bodied beer. The carbonation is very, very smooth in this one. Yeah, the malt, yeah, carbonation is very smooth. The mouthfeel overall has a little bit of an oily edge to it, a little bit of creaminess in there, but it's also got a bit of wetness. So there's 3 main kind of things going on in this one. The malt base, like I said, is very, very smooth, but also a little bit sweet. Good little bit of hoppy quality to this one. I would say you're talking about 30 IBUs at most with this beer. By no means is it going to blow the head off you in terms of its IBU count, but you've got a lovely juicy fruitiness to it. And the real kind of character of this beer that I think is noteworthy is the way that the juicy fruits kind of interact with the slightly sweeter quality of the malt base. Like I say, passion fruits, mangoes, and a little touch of lime to this one. It's really nice how all these flavours go together. But let's leave it at that for this. This is a really, really nice pale ale, and I'm not surprised that once again these guys have pulled out a very, very solid beer. So let's leave it at that for this. This is the Fruitpocalypse now, and a New England style pale ale, an American pale ale. It's 6.2% from the Lobik Craft Brewery in Maribor in Slovenia. Another very solid beer from these guys, and it's just very, very well done. You can't ask for much more than that. So yeah, as I say, a lovely beer, and let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below. You know, it's always great to hear from you guys, and if you get the chance to try some of these Lobik beers, you're certainly not going to be disappointed. The quality of Slovenian craft beer is awesome, as I always say. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Lobik Brewery, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. Until the next time, check out my social media, but most importantly, have a go at some of these Lobik Brewery beers, and thank you once again to Davort for making this review possible. I'm very, very curious now to see how we get on with the final beer that I've got from these guys. But I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Fruitpocalypse now from the Lobik Craft Brewery in Maribor in Slovenia. Till the next time, Slanja, Skol, na zdravje.